First, a little mindset shift. AI is not replacing agents. And I think we've faced this fight before, right? First, it was going to be Redfin, and then Zillow, and then Opendoor, and we've always been told we are going to get replaced. Unfortunately, AI is actually replacing certain people. So for us, the mindset is that it's not going to replace you. It really is not. But it's going to make you as optimized as you can possibly be. My wife is a high school English teacher for freshmen. Want to talk about abusing AI? She'll just go up to a kid and say, "What does extrapolate mean?" And they're like, "Oh, I don't know." "Well, you used it 4 times in your paper, so I'd like you to tell me what that means." So they're not very smart with how they do it. But the idea is, and this is a big conversation topic, is how is AI going to be treated in schools? Well, the idea is you used to go to the library and you'd do research on the Roman Empire, right? You'd write a paper about the Roman Empire. Well, that was the baseline, and then you wrote the paper. That was what you did. Well, now the assumption is that, well, these kids are going to use AI to write about the Roman Empire. So that now the baseline has been lifted. Now these kids are going to have to explain how the Roman Empire can teach our society lessons, or how recreate the Roman Empire in this world. Write out an essay of what that looks like. They're going to have to now extend upon that. So the baseline is just simply getting raised higher and higher and higher. So a lot of people are concerned, like, oh, these kids, they're not going to learn anything. I disagree. They're learning it at a more advanced level. We were expected to write about the Roman Empire. They're now expected to translate that to other cultures and explain what the pitfalls of the Roman Empire were. So that's the mindset shift I want us to all have. Now, who here knows the best time to plant a tree? 10 years ago. What's the second best time to plant a tree? Today. Okay, that's how AI is. The best time to start learning about AI was yesterday. The second best time is today. And today, ideally, you're going to get a better, that's going to start happening, isn't it? Today, you're going to get a better idea of how to build your AI. So let's move on to the 7 myths. There are a lot of myths about AI, and a few of these we're going to get more into detail. And some of these you might be having in the back of your mind, you're having some doubts. So number 1 is AI has a human-like understanding. It may seem that way. And today we're going to talk about what's actually happening under the hood. Like, how does AI actually work? Because it is very creepy. I'm the first one to admit that. AI is trying constantly to put safeguards in place so people don't date their ChatGPT. It's not working. They're still dating their ChatGPT. People are using it as a therapist. People are using it as a doctor. And again, it's because it is so convincing how human-like it can be. But again, it is not a human. It's just an engine. It's always accurate. So I give an analogy to everybody. If Gordon Ramsay came in here and gave us the best recipe in the world to bake a cake, and you're like, all right, I got it. You go over to the grocery store, you buy rotten eggs, spoiled milk, old flour, and you do it exactly how he described it. That cake would taste better than the cake I would bake anyways, but it would taste like trash because you put garbage in. You have to be very wary of what you put into ChatGPT. Even more so, if you're using ChatGPT at a high level, you have to make sure that it remembers what you're saying. So if you go off on tangents or you lose your focus, it's going to remember those things. And it's going to say, well, remember, you had said you wanted to start a catering company, so what if we work that in? You're like, no, we don't want to do that. So be very careful of what information you put into ChatGPT. I will also say on that note, it has to be understood that everything you put in ChatGPT is going to become public knowledge. I'm not saying it will be, but you have to operate on that assumption, okay? So don't be putting your social security number in there. If you're using names, there's certain things you got to be a little bit more careful with. I know some people that put their bank statements, but they block everything out, or they just crop it off, and they just give it the numbers. Tell me what the profit margin is on this and this. You can do those things. Just understand that the assumption is it's eventually going to get everywhere out there, okay? We're not that important. I don't think anyone's going to go after our stuff. I mean, you want to go after my bank account, go ahead. But just understand that. Tech expertise is needed. ChatGPT is incredibly user-friendly, and I think we all know that, and we're going to talk about how you can do a lot of groundwork at the bottom so that you don't need a lot of tech training on the front end, okay? Robotic content, not true. It will be robotic when you first start using ChatGPT, okay? And to go on your, what was your name? Chepe. Chepe. So to go on your notes, what you said, well, it depends on which chat or AI you use. We're gonna get you to focus on only one today. And the reason is because if you hop around between different AI tools, each one is gonna give you robotic answers because none of them are gonna get to know you that well, okay? Search engine only, fun story. Right now, if you broke up the population of the world or the country, however you wanna do that, you have your baby boomers and your Gen X. Let's just call that a segment. And then you have your millennial, let's call that a segment. And then you have younger, I think that's Gen Z and Alpha and all that stuff. Gen X and the baby boomer are currently using ChatGPT as a search engine. They're saying things like, remind me what riparian rights are again. Or I forget how many square feet are in an acre. They're just using it as a search engine. The millennial is starting to use it more as an advisor. It's starting to say things like, hey, I need to write an email. Can you make this sound a little bit better? What do you think about this? The generation behind everyone here, I think, the Gen Z, I don't want to make any assumptions, they're using it absolutely daily. They're taking pictures of things. There's people, and I might do this myself, take a picture of a business card and just give me the name, email address, and the phone number, and make it into a CSV file, and it'll do all that stuff for me. So that's what the generation behind us is doing. So again, if you're using it as a search engine, I'm gonna try to get you to bring it in as an advisor. If you're using it as an advisor, I'm gonna try to get you to use it as a daily assistant to how you're living your life, okay? Let's see, what else do we have? Replaces relationships, that's kind of creepy, but I should not replace relationships. But what it's going to do is it's going to enhance them. And I'll give you a prime example. So I do discovery calls with coaching clients, and I always ask for permission. I say, hey, I could take notes during our meeting, but with your permission, I have an AI note taker, and if that could just listen in during our meeting, you're gonna have 110% of my attention. Are you okay with that? I've never had a single person say no, and I've also prefaced it with, if there's anything really personal, we'll make sure we cut that out of the transcript. And then what ends up happening is it gives me a transcript of the meeting, it generates notes, it gives me action plans, and it sends a follow-up email all after that meeting. So again, whether or not you're doing that, I just want you to know that that's an option. And I'm sorry? So, let me see, I wanted to have this open here. You can do something like dictate. So there's a little button right here. I wish it was a little bit bigger. Dictate right here. And you can just speak into ChatGPT. So that's one option. Another option is you can simply have an AI app, like granola is one of them. If you want to write down granola, like the granola bar, that is something that I actually use every time. I don't really use ChatGPT for that. I use granola, and then what I'll do is I'll take the transcript from granola and I'll paste it into ChatGPT if I wanted to. But that's a free app that you can use. I absolutely love that format of meetings though, because again, is it replacing my relationship? Absolutely not. If anything, it's actually enhancing how well I'm communicating with this person.
Teams and Zoom also have already.
Correct, and you're gonna start seeing it all over the place now, and while I'm talking, I'm just gonna make sure I remember to hit record on this thing.
You did.
Okay, thank you. Yes, you're seeing that all the time now. Zoom now has that option as well, AI companion. And to be honest, I don't play with it as much because granola automatically opens, almost to a fault. Like sometimes if it hears me talking, it'll open up granola and say, are you in a meeting right now? And I'll say, no, I'm just on a phone call. But it will listen in as often as I need it to.
But does that make it public information too?
Well, granola doesn't pull into it's not like a ChatGPT, it's just a dictating machine. Good question though, very good question. And again, that's where I would say to that client, hey, if you share anything hyper-personal, we're gonna cut that out because all I wanna do is, I want it to take notes of what your conversion rate is and what's your goal and how on pace are you, so that I can send a very thoughtful email that says, hey, in our meeting you said that you were 33% of the way there, we're a third of the way through the year, so you're on pace. So those things like that are not as personal, but yeah, that's a really good point. You gotta be careful with that, okay? All right, ample time available to adopt AI. That is a myth. A lot of people are thinking like, I'll get there when I get there. The problem is it is moving at such a fast rate. I wasn't around for the internet boom. I wasn't of age when the internet boom came along. I was high schoolish age when like social media really picked up, so I was kind of age, but I wasn't gonna take advantage of it. This is our opportunity to ride this wave. AI is moving very fast. Did anyone see the AI Meta glasses that just came out? It has a screen inside the lens, and you can move it with your hand. That's the speed in which I don't know how many people are gonna walk into walls, if I'm being honest, but that's the speed in which we're going. That's the speed, guys, and it's gonna grow exponentially. So right now is the time. The best time to get into this was yesterday. The second best time is today. And if you're already using it, today we're gonna just help you get along faster, okay? Any questions so far about this? All right.
Why is Elon Musk worried about AI?
That's scary, right? I think anybody that really, really, really understands AI is very concerned with it, if we're being totally honest.
Why aren't you?
What's that?
Why aren't you?
Oh, I am. I still say please and thank you just in case. I tell people as a joke, I'm like, no, I say, can you please revise this? I always say that. I don't know. It's such uncharted territory when AI starts training itself. And by the way, in one of my more advanced classes when I'm meeting with like one-on-one clients, we use AI to help us build an AI bot. And AI tells us what that AI bot should do. So it's like a loop, and you get deep into it, and it's pretty high level, but yeah, it's a little scary. Okay, so 2 buckets of AI use. Obviously, we're only going to be talking about one today. One is that it is going to generate leads for you. Now, it does kind of do some of those things now, like it'll help you write a good ad. It'll help you write high SEO hashtags on your post that could generate leads. But I would argue that you've generated a lead for somebody using AI in the past. And I'll give you an example. I had to go to PT a couple months ago, physical therapy for my shoulder, and a chat bot opened up on the website and said, hey, what's your injury? Do you have a reference number? I gave it all that information. I said, do you have a preference for the doctor? No, just whoever's available. Okay, great. This person's available at this day and this time. I clicked yes, and it sent me a confirmation email. That PT was probably stretching somebody that whole time, comes back to his desk and sees, I have an appointment with Gabriel Perez next Friday at 2 p.m. That generated a lead. It generated the lead, and it closed it, and it set the appointment, and it sent a follow-up and a reminder. That PT did nothing, okay? And then the second bucket, that's what we're gonna be talking about today, is how to get stuff done. AI handles the busy work. Sorry, I need to keep touching this so it doesn't go to sleep on me. AI handles the busy work so you can be more human more often to more people. Focusing on your high impact 20% activities. You guys are probably amazing at opening up a super lockbox. You're probably fantastic at writing emails. But I would argue your best work is belly to belly with a client over a cup of coffee, over a lunch, talking to them about why they need this house and their timeline and all those things. AI can't do that for you, but it can take all this stuff off of you so that you can do that more often. Make sense? Okay, so let's talk about what's happening under the hood. So does anyone have an idea of how AI works? It's an open-ended question. It's very unfair, but any ideas? Okay, I'm gonna give you a simple analogy that we can all relate to. So when you start texting, there's something called autofill, okay? And if you open up your internet browser, and let's play a game here. I'm gonna open up my internet browser, pretend. And I'm gonna start typing a word in the search bar, and I want you to auto-complete what I'm typing. F, A.
You want us to do?
Yeah. C. No, guess what I'm typing. F, A, C, E, B, O. Facebook. There you go. You already had an idea. I'm going to be honest. I thought you guys were going to get it faster. I'm not sure what we were guessing. If I type in F, Facebook immediately. If I type in C, ChatGPT. If I type in G, Google, or Gmail, I'm not sure which one would pop up. So what your system is doing, whether it's Apple or Android, it's saying, well, I've memorized what this person likes to search for. So as soon as they type F, this dude always goes to Facebook. So as soon as he types F, I'm just going to give it to him. And if it's not correct, he can erase it. And sure enough, I type F and I hit enter because it's that quick. I don't even type Facebook anymore. Or I just type an I and I hit enter because I know it's going to autofill Instagram. So this is the same concept that large language models use. Your system has studied your language. It doesn't auto-finish my language in Spanish. It doesn't autofill in Italian. It autofills in English because that's what I always use. So now that we understand that concept, I want us to blow out this scale. ChatGPT, last I checked, is trained on over 200 million books. Okay? Now, who here has read a book this year so far? Raise your hand. Just everyone, just raise your hand. Okay. Make my wife happy. She's a teacher. Okay. You probably can tell me what that book was about. You probably could give me a few quotes, like a few good lines maybe that jumped out at you, but that's probably it, right? You're probably not going to be able to tell me what page that was on. You're probably not going to be able to recite it word for word. ChatGPT has 200 million books that it has memorized, 100% accuracy, and it can recall instantly. That's the type of software that we're talking about here. And that's not the power of it, because that's already a huge library. But now what it has done is it's taken all that information and it's studied the patterns, and it's up to billions of combinations of words that ChatGPT now has memorized. So huge scale is that's what's happening. On a smaller scale, your phone says Facebook, because that's what you're thinking of, okay? Now, it depends on what you put into it. So if you can put in a text, you could put in an image, you can put in videos. I don't know about videos. You can upload files. So you can put into ChatGPT whatever you want to do. So hey, here's a written request of what I would like you to do. And what ChatGPT will do is it'll look at what you ask, and it will run through a billion examples and guess at a pretty good success rate, if I think we can all agree on that, at what it is the best answer for you. Now, when you think of it like that, this is as cold of a system as you can get, right? And yet people are dating this thing. Okay, so I just want us to understand that. Now, that's what you put into it. So that's the input. The engine is the ChatGPT AI model that you choose. So this is where Gemini might come in if you're using for your AI engine. Gemini, Perplexity, ChatGPT, Siri. It's going to turn on my phone, isn't it? You could say you can put it into any number of these engines, and what's going to come out is, depending on what you requested and what you put in, naturally, the quality of the engine that you put it into, and then it will give you whatever you're asking for. It'll give you text, it'll give you images, it'll give you video, and it will even give you, audio, I don't know about that one, but it could, I'm sure at some point it's going to be able to do that, okay? So what we're going to be doing is we're going to talk about these things: the prompt, how to do this at a high level. I'm going to help you decide which AI engine you should be using, and then we'll touch on some of the outputs that can happen. But again, this is a playbook, so really we're going to be focusing on how to optimize your input so that as a result, your output is high quality. Okay? So let me just make sure I ran through these. So we're understanding the LLMs. We're going to be choosing one. And then we're going to start personalizing your chatbot so that it works exactly the way you need it to work. And then we're going to talk about how to perfect the prompts so that it gives you what you want when you need it in the way that you want it. And then we're going to talk about some daily ways that you should be using AI. And hopefully a few of these are new to you, or at least I'm going to give you some fresh perspective on them. Okay? So far, let's see. Do we have any questions? Any ahas, questions, comments, concerns? I know there's some concerns, but. So we're good? All right. So choose your AI partner. Each LLM, so when you see LLM, that's a large language model. I want you to just think AI. Okay? So each AI has unique strengths. Select the one that best matches your workflow and your business needs. Now there's a trap here. It's a trick. This is a trick, okay? I'm gonna show you all the different options that you can have. The text is way too small, so ignore that. AI, jack of all trades, kind of does a little bit of everything at a pretty high level. Gemini, it's connected to the Google ecosystem, so that's a definite benefit for it. Claude, this is good for natural conversations. It can write, it's a polished writer, and it writes code for you, okay?
Writes code?
It can write code, correct. It can write code. It could design an app for you, yeah. Now, out of all these, which is the best?
One more question.
Yep.
How come you didn't put perplexity?
I think, honestly, I think it's just got cut off. It might be scrolled. Aha! Grok and Perplexity. Yep, these are just the big guys. There's a ton out there, okay? There's a ton out there. So Grok, conversational and witty, I'm not even sure what that means. Perplexity is great for fact checking, okay? So my question for you guys is, which do you think is the best?
Depends.
It depends on
On what are you going to do?
what are you gonna do, okay?
ChatGPT.
ChatGPT, is there a reason or is that just what?
Yeah, because it has the most users.
Okay, that's a great reason. It's a good reason.
It has a lot of data. It's collected a lot more data.
Okay.
I started out with both, but I singularly chosen ChatGPT just because of that answer and my answer of I use it relentlessly.
Yeah.
And relentlessly, it's when I make it really complicated, I can get something done that takes an hour to 2 hours in about 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm. It compresses time so that you have more time to be more human to more people.
It's made me more efficient because of the two variables that are kicking in.
Yeah, yeah. I just did a group coaching call this morning, and we used AI so that, and again, this isn't disingenuous, it's just, let's say you have 5 buyers that are all looking, one's looking in Long Beach, one's looking in Ontario, one's looking in El Monte, one's looking in Glendale, and you want to send them an email that's personalized to them and what they're looking for, but you don't really want to do a full market report and a relocation guide for every single city. So I taught a class today on how you can run a relocation, you can do a market research report specifically to their needs, whether a buyer, seller, move up, move down, downsize, or whatever, and also how we put together a relocation guide for every single one of those cities. That would have taken hours. I'm not even sure how long that would have taken, or you would have needed an assistant to do that for you. We did it in a 15-minute class, and that was half of me teaching it. Probably it took about 5 to 10 minutes to actually do it. And that's kind of what Seth was saying. It just compresses all that time. So now, instead of sitting in my office for 2 hours while I do this report, I ran the report, blasted out the email, and now I can go make my calls, call behind it that I sent the email. Each of those people can now get a phone call because I have more capacity to do it. So let me ask it this way. Which is the best CRM? Let's see if you guys are wearing your coach's hats. Which is the best CRM? I don't want to start a fight, but I'm kind of curious. What? There it was. What is it? The one you use. Correct. That is the right answer. Any coach worth their salt is going to say, I don't care what you use. Just use it every single day because it's all about how you use it. So the same thing goes for here. I did not care what answer you guys gave me. I just wanted you to pick one because what we're going to get into, and this is where it's going to get a little weird for some people, we're going to get to know our AI and it's going to get to know us. And we're going to become best buds with it because it is our executive assistant. It knows how we work. It knows how we operate. It knows how we think and all those things. We're going to personalize our chatbot, okay? So let me see here. So there's a few ways to update, to personalize your AI, but we're going to talk about 2 big ones, personalization and memory. So personalization, this is going to be acting as your default chatbot's instructions. Okay, so you're going to give it instructions on how you want it to interact with you on a day-to-day basis. And when we do send out these slides, you're going to see a little bit more about the criteria that you can fill in so that it gets to know you better and better. And then memory. AI acts like your executive assistant that never forgets key facts about you or your past conversations. Creepy? It's good. It's a good thing, I promise. So if AI can remember 200 million books and recall them at the drop of a hat, I'm sure it can remember that you are a geo-farming real estate agent and you do a semi-annual client party. I'm sure it can remember that. I'm sure it can remember that for fun, you bike or you run or you like to do crochet. It will remember all those things, and that will all play a factor in your working with AI. And we're gonna talk a little bit more about that shortly. So number one, I actually would like you to choose your communication style. So I've used an assistant before. I've used the virtual assistant like I think we all have in the past. When you're looking for a virtual assistant, if you're good at what you do, you're gonna make sure that the virtual assistant or the assistant operates the way you want it to, correct? Okay? Like, I'm not gonna get a virtual assistant that speaks Russian. It's a waste of money. I can't understand what you're saying, you can't understand what I'm saying, okay? I'm a high D. I'm off the charts, okay? Put me on a stage and give me a mic and I'm a happy person. If I were to hire an assistant and they say, yeah, I know that's what you want me to do. I just need some time to just think about it. I need to reflect. Let's circle back in a couple weeks and let's run through some drafts. I'd be like, this isn't working. This isn't working. We got to move fast. This is my operating style. This is your opportunity to customize how AI works with you. And I would say we're probably going to start getting into some more uncharted territory. A lot of people are using AI. That's awesome. I think a lot of people are starting to expand how they're thinking about AI. That's fantastic. But they may be skipping this really important step. Okay? So you can choose your tone, communication style, approach. Let's go into it. So you can have it be friendly or formal, direct or patient, analytical versus creative. And if you don't think this matters, again, I would go back to the assistant. Would you tell your assistant, like, hey, this is how we work on the team. We report every single week. We hit our numbers. Or vice versa, when we make a call, we need to be on that call for at least 15 minutes. We dive deep with every single client. You would set that tone. Do that with your AI. It's no different. Now, communication style, encouraging versus skeptical, detailed or succinct, humorous versus serious. Approach, curious versus objective. Enthusiastic versus calm. Empathetic versus reserved. Man. Personally, if you use my chat GPT, you would probably find that it is very enthusiastic and it's just in your face. It's like, let's try this, let's try this, let's try this. What about that? What about that? Because it has seen how I interact with it over honestly the years, okay? Now, this is a general personality. So this is gonna be kind of like the baseline. If you were doing a project and you give AI specific instructions, that would be overridden. For example, let's pretend, I just shared that my AI is a little bit more edgy, it's a little bit more funny. Everything I do, I like to make it like funny, okay? If I got a if my team got a $4 million luxury listing, I would have to be very clear with my chatbot. I would say, hey, look, professional, okay? We're not making jokes on this one. The property description, I need it to be strong, elegant. I'd even probably give it examples. Does anyone here upload examples into their chat GPT? Okay, perfect. So if there's anybody that you admire, some big agent that's hitting the specific niche that you want to hit, I would encourage you to download and scrape all of their websites. And you're not copying it, you're just gonna give it to your chat GPT and say, hey, save this in your memory. I wanna sound like this person. Okay, so when I do a lot of writing as well, I have told my chat GPT, I've uploaded past writings that I've done, and I've told it, I said, I want you to write in the tone of Max Licato, and give me a little bit of Steinbeck in there. And it will give me writings that I really enjoy because of that. Okay? Yeah. See, personal insights. Okay, memory is your friend, okay? This is what I always tell people, this is where ChatGPT can absolutely wow you. It really, really can. And I'll give you an example that I've actually seen before. We had a coaching client that was into biking, and that's why I use the example, because they were into biking, and another one was into dogs, and they were having a hard time figuring out what type of a client event they should do. And they had done a pie party, they had done a shredding event, they had done Easter basket pickup. They were very relational. And I said, well, let's open up ChatGPT and let's do some playing around with it. It's a lot of tinkering. ChatGPT ends up coming out and saying, well, you like biking. Have you considered partnering with a local bike shop and inviting all of your clients to come on out and support this business and maybe get their bikes tuned up? And that client's jaw hit the floor because we didn't even mention bikes. At some point in the memory, they had mentioned biking. It was probably under hobbies. And ChatGPT said, well, did you think about that? And a great prompt, I would encourage you to write this one down, is give me 5 ideas that are outside of the box. Because again, it knows you really well. It's gonna probably want to give you things that you're used to. But if you tell it, hey, give me 5 ideas that are like way out of my comfort zone, but I should do. And it'll give you 5 ideas that you should do. Okay, so here are some things that you can input into ChatGPT. And I would encourage you, write this out and then just upload it as a PDF into your ChatGPT and say, hey, save this. One and done, do it really well one time. So name and key people, hobbies and interests. I think that's one of the biggest ones. Hobbies and interests, core values and beliefs, personal preferences. So let's say you're a beach guy, you're a beach gal, okay? So if you tell it that, like, hey, you know what? I grew up in Orange County. Now I live in Pasadena, but I love the beach, so I grew up surfing. It'll remember that, and it won't forget it. It will not forget these things, which is extra comforting because you don't have to keep reminding it. How annoying would it be if you said, hey, ChatGPT, I'm behind on my numbers. I gotta get my numbers up. And it was like, well, are you selling skin oils or are you selling cars? You're like, no, I'm a real estate agent. How many times do we need to tell you that? So it's actually really helpful that it has a good memory. Let's see some other things. Goals and boundaries, your top 3 personal goals. I built a chatbot that does a GPS 135, whatever lingo you guys use, it's a business plan. And I encourage all of my clients to upload that into ChatGPT so that they can remember your goals. Is it units? Is it 15 units this year? Is it a GCI of 325? Is it a profit of a certain number? What is your number? Is it volume? Whatever your goal is, put it into ChatGPT. Health goals and habits, that's a really good one as well. And again, why not? If it's not terribly personal, like let's say you want to lose 15 pounds or you want to run a half marathon, it doesn't hurt to just put that into ChatGPT. Are you worried somebody might find out that you want to run a half marathon? I mean, I don't think that's going to be that embarrassing. I think that's a great thing, right? Off-limits topics, if there's something that is just a little too fresh, it does help to mention those things. Like, hey, I did a client event and it was an absolute flop. I was humiliated. I never want to do one of those again. So put that in the off-limits category. Don't ever suggest client events. It was terrible, and it won't do that. Communication preferences, and that's kind of the previous one that we discussed. Now, has anyone here heard of the $1 million test? This one's cool. This one's cool. So what I would want you to do, and this is kind of the litmus test of how well your AI knows you. Here's what I want you to do at some point later today. Let me know what you get. Let me know if it's accurate. You go into ChatGPT and you say, hey, I want to run a scenario by you. Based on what you know about me, if I won $1 million today, what would I do with that money? And the answer that ChatGPT gives you will tell you how well you've been using it. So my ChatGPT was crazy accurate. Like it was accurate enough to where if I actually won $1 million, I would probably do what it told me to do. So I was like, that's actually really, it was, well, yeah, no, it was great. And if you have $1 million, let me know, that'd be great. Let's test it, the real deal. It said, well, Gabe, you are really focused on retirement using the Trinity study as your kind of your thesis. So you would put this much money towards that because you want to use that Trinity study to retire. And your goal is to invest in 25 doors. You would invest out of state. So this is how much money you would probably put towards that. And you do have some student loan debts, but that interest rate's pretty low, so I wouldn't worry about that. And I was just like, what? It was so accurate. And there's other people that the ChatGPT is kind of like, you'd buy a sports car, and they're like, I would not buy a sports car. And that's on you, right? That's on you. Yes?
So I was on a webinar a couple of weeks ago, and almost every single person, top producer, said that they paid for the ChatGPT.
Mm-hmm.
Because it retains more of your information, it learns you better. Now, so do you agree with that, number one? And then number two, is it more private in keeping your information, or is it still public out there?
So first question, you should absolutely, and this isn't a sponsorship, I don't know anybody at OpenAI, you should 100% pay for the ChatGPT version. I think it's $20, and it is worth every single penny that you will pay. I don't know why it's not more, to be honest. There is a more expensive version, and I've looked into it. I don't think I would need it. I think people should not use the expensive version. I don't think they should use the free version. I think that $20 is comedically affordable. I think everyone should do that. And it does put you at the top of the line. So sometimes, previous to having the paid version, sometimes ChatGPT would say, you've already used up all of your image requests, so you're gonna have to wait a couple of hours. You don't get that when you have the paid version. Also, you have folders. Let's see if I can open up mine. You have folders.
So for the images that they pull, if you want to use it for social media, do they give you images that are not restricted?
You're asking such good questions. Like, I love this. So when you ask ChatGPT to create an image for you, that is customized to you. So that cannot be, it's not royalty. There's no Getty images. It's none of those things. So honestly, that's the safest things is using ChatGPT to create images, or using something like Pexels or Unsplash, those places where you can like tip the creator. But yeah, it's 100% safe. Yep.
Getty has images too.
What's that?
Getty has images too.
Yeah. I know, I got sued by him once.
No,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you pay.
Yeah, correct, yep.
Get specific with the whole licensing and everything.
Correct.
all that on top.
Yeah, and if you use Canva, you can also get royalty-free images on Canva as well that are already like approved, so you don't have to worry about the Google rights searches. Yeah.
So second question was?
Is it safe? Is it safer? Again, I'm going to stand on assume it is. Always assume it is. Yeah, I would still.
It's public.
What's that?
Assuming it's public.
Assume everything is public, correct. Yep, assume. Even if the paid version, even if I was paying the $99 a month version, I would still assume that that is not safe. Even if they say it is, I just be, be careful. Okay, so now we're gonna get into the actual application part now. So a few things that you wanna make sure that you understand. Let it know what industry you're in, your niche. So if you're referral only, or if you are a cold caller, or if you have a certain, if you are a Sierra Madre expert, put that in, okay? Your ideal customer profile, and I think everybody should have their ideal customer, like we call it an avatar. You should know who your avatar is. If you don't, use ChatGPT to help you figure it out. Goals and visions, put your goals in there. We already talked about that. And then key business metrics. We kind of mentioned that part. Are you tracking GCI, volume, units? Are you tracking referrals? It depends on which kind of walk of life your business is. And essential tools and apps that you are using. So let's talk about perfecting your prompt. Has anyone heard of the RICE technique? I like it because it's pretty straightforward. Anytime you're putting a prompt into ChatGPT, you want to try to follow this prompt here, RICE. And you're going to hear there's lots of different acronyms that people use. I like this one because it's easy to remember, RICE. The role, I want you to act as a social media marketing expert. Instructions, tell the model what to do and what not to do. I want you to write a LinkedIn post for me and what not to do. I can't let it be longer than 200 characters. I don't know if that's true. So you give it its parameters, tell it what you want it to do. Context, any extra info. I want it to be about Sierra Madre, specifically for buyers that are interested in the Sierra Madre area. And examples, this is where you can go on social media, find the nearest Sierra Madre agent, and say, I love what this agent's doing. Can we kind of imitate what their writing is like? And it will give you pretty solid results, just following that alone. And by the way, we're gonna talk about how to level up even after this, but this is foundation. This is the playbook stuff, okay? Has anyone been using specific prompt outlines like this before? Okay, perfect, good. So 7 prompt hacks. So this is how you can get things to get even better and better and better. Number 1, ask me questions first. This is a tough one. So most people don't use this one because it is pretty tedious. I would say to ChatGPT, I'd say, hey, I want to design a weight loss program for a 55-year-old man and husband and wife. Ask me questions one at a time until we figure this out. And it says, okay, great. Do they have any pre-existing injuries? Yeah, 1 knee surgery. Okay, gotcha. What's their schedule like? They're open after 6 p.m., 6 to 8 p.m., Mondays through Fridays. Got it. Do they have any preferences? So you can have it ask you questions about anything and then finally it'll say, okay, great. Here's the ideal workout program for this couple. Show your work. This is huge, guys. Anytime you ask ChatGPT to do something, it is a great habit to say, also give me one resource that you used, one source. So if it says like, the Long Beach market is slowing to a crawl, here is the article that I found to explain that. And you click on that, it might be an article from 2011. You're like, okay, great, I'm glad you gave me that because that's garbage, right? So that definitely helps. Action plan, break it down, step-by-step guidance. So tell me what I should be doing step-by-step. I want to do a home buyer seminar. I have no idea how to do it, never done it before. Walk me through a step-by-step plan of how I can make this the best one ever. Options, give me 3 different solutions. Hey, I'm not sure what to do about this inspection. We have a $40,000 gap between the request for repairs and what the price is. Give me 3 options of how we can navigate this best. I think that's kind of a good one, to be honest. 5, second opinion, critique your own answer. So you can actually ask AI, hey, you gave me these 3 options. What issues do you see with your own options? And that's where AI kind of starts helping you with its own AI, which is it's that loop that I'm talking about. Blind spot, I think this is my favorite one, to be honest. Let's say you have to write a letter to a client that you're firing. And you write that letter out, and you're like, hey, I don't want to burn this bridge. I want to make sure that we part on good ways. I want to let them know that there's better options out there for them. Here's what I have written. What is a blind spot that I'm not seeing? And ChatGPT can say, well, you might want to consider being a little bit more empathetic on this part. And then okay, you know what, you're right, let me fix that up. And then this is the kicker, re-upload it and say, okay, great. Now, what blind spot do you see? And it says, well, you could also do this, 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 and this. Okay, great, fix that. Now, what blind spot do you see? And you can do that until you have it refined to the nines. And I don't think enough people do things like that. Hey, tell me what I'm not seeing here. Because the cool thing about ChatGPT is it's a robot. It doesn't have blind spots. It is impartial. So as soon as you write something that you're like, oh, this is great, this is perfect. What blind spots am I not seeing? And it points something out, and you're like, wow, I really did not see that. Fix it, ask it again. Fix it, ask it again. And then Steel Man, I think this one's kind of fun too. Argue with your ChatGPT. Say, hey, I'm a seller, and I'm waiting on interest rates to drop so that I can get that price increase that I want for my house. Convince me otherwise. Argue with me on this. Reverse roles with your ChatGPT. Okay, so argue the opposite view, I think, is a really good one. And what really gets fun, my phone's over there. But if you have the ChatGPT app, you can turn it on dictate mode, and it will talk to you. Let me see if you could see it. So what you would see, it's right here. Use voice mode. It's this little button right here, okay? And what I've done as a live demo for clients before is I will talk and role play with ChatGPT. But here's the thing, most people use this one direction. They say, okay, I want you to be a seller, or I want you to be a buyer, and I'm the agent. Let's role play this. I would say don't do that. I mean, you can do that, but reverse that. Say, hey, I want you to be the agent, and I'm gonna be the buyer. And I'm gonna give you an objection, and I want you to work the objections with me. Now, if you wanna make it even better, remember, ChatGPT is pulling from 200 million books, all at the same time. What if you could actually cut down the field and say, hey, actually, I want you to argue with me. I want you to convince me, role play with me, but I want you to only pull from exactly what to say. That's a role play book, by the way. Phil Jones, I think. And I want you to use that terminology that author uses. First of all, ChatGPT instantly knows what you're talking about, and it will use those objection handlers against you. And you can see how it does things like that. I've done that multiple times, and it's brought a different perspective. I'm like, oh, you know what? I would not have gone that route, but that was actually pretty good. Maybe I'll bank that and I'll use that. So you can ask ChatGPT to use certain references. So if I were to do a business plan, hey, ChatGPT, I want to do a business plan, and I want it to be for 2026. That's going to be my year, and I want to sell 15 homes, and I want you to walk me through a business plan, but I want you to only pull your information from Mike Ferry, Tom Ferry, Gary Keller, and that's all I'll use. I want you to pull information only from those people, and you will basically be consulted using those books. The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, The One Thing, the Tom Ferry, Mike Ferry script books, maybe Brian Buffini. You can have it only pull from those sources of information, and that's when it really starts to get powerful, okay? Has anyone role-played with ChatGPT before? Oh, you have? Okay, cool.
But in real estate, business ownership, I'm designing a space right now. So in design, I actually walked the space by myself in the space, planned it out, talked construction materials. And then I learned a lesson. It's not architecture. You can't do a architectural rendering. So I thought about it. I said, what if we did a sketch design? And then the sketch design turned into a pretty close mock-up of almost a 3D rendering.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so be careful.
Yeah.
So that's curious what you just said. So if you drew something out, could you scan it in to ChatGPT to formalize it?
So yes, short answer is yes. And I don't know if there's a slide for this, but I want to talk about how I've used ChatGPT before. What I've done in the past is I'm so bad with real estate spatial design. I matched today, very proud of that. It was a 50-50 shot. If you show me an empty room, I'll just say like storage. Like I got nothing. I can't put a coffee table and a couch. Like I can't do that stuff. I'm not good at it. And so when it's time to write a listing description or even tell you what style of home it is, Spanish versus Mediterranean, right? Like, I don't know. I know they're close to each other. I can separate that from a craftsman. But what you can do with ChatGPT is if you can open this, you can add a picture of the front of the house. And you can say, hey, first of all, tell me what style of architecture this is. And then I want you to write a description of what you see that would be appealing to a buyer. And it will say, this is a craftsman style home, as noted by the porch and the pillars and whatever. And as you walk towards this house, what you're going to be greeted with is this high-pitched roof or blank, blank, blank. And it'll do all that for you. And I've even gone a step further. I uploaded all the interior photos of a house. I think I ended up uploading 30. You can only do 10 at a time, I think. And that's how I found out. You can only do 10 at a time. I uploaded 30 photos, and I said, just give me a whole property description. And it gave me the most beautiful property description. It pointed out something. It said stainless steel appliances. And I thought, I don't think there's stainless steel appliances. Looked at the photos, stainless steel appliances. So it did it better than I would have. Like it legitimately did a better job of doing a walkthrough description of the property than I would have done. Not only that, it gave me that whole thing, and I said, okay, great, that's amazing. That's perfect for a flyer. But now I want you to shorten it for a postcard. But don't lose any of the effect. Only highlight the best things. Gave me a postcard description. Sweet. Give me an Instagram description. Gave me an Instagram description. Give me 5 more variations that I can use with different photos. Gave me 5 different variations. So what did we just do? We just replaced a property description writer, a social media person that would have reorganized all those words. It gave me an architecture description that I probably wouldn't have done myself if I'm being 100% honest. And it did all those things by uploading a photo. High quality photos too, by the way.
And then when he does this 2 weeks later, 2 hours later, or whenever later, it's going to ask him, hey, do you want to do that again?
Yeah.
It's going to prompt you because you might not think of creating something.
Correct. And this is where I am building chatbots, because I will build a chatbot that says, when the client uploads a photo of a house, I want you to give the following things. Property description, I want you to do a narrated walkthrough. I want you to give me 5 Instagram posts, and I want you to give me a 30-second social media video script. And it will do all those things every single time you upload a photo. And that's where custom chatbot building is just wild. And that's what I do for people. So this is all ways that you can get better results from probably what you're already doing. And I would encourage you to try these things, play with them, okay? Before we move on, any questions, comments, concerns?
I think, what about people, like abuse, okay?
I'm sorry?
Abuse. People use technology not just for the better good.
Mhm.
Some of them just, they're curious, or maybe they just, have a different heart.
Sure.
And they abuse these technology. That's why people say that, oh, this is no good, technology is no good. And
Sure.
I think we need to be educated in the correct aspect. But how does AI will detect this abuse and say?
Oh, that's a great question, and I probably would have forgot to mention this. So one of the things, I think it's like towards the end, we're going to talk about how to stay compliant, how to stay safe, how to protect yourself, how to protect everybody. I would say that before you get to the point of abusing AI, like using it for inappropriate images or things like that, it will stop you before you get there. And I'll give you an example. I'm in a fantasy football league, and if you don't follow football, Joe Burrow broke his toe, and I was teasing somebody about it. So I told ChatGPT, this is how often I use ChatGPT. I said, give me a picture of Joe Burrow with a big swollen toe crying. And it said, well, I can't use Joe Burrow because that's a protected licensed team. And I was like, I can give you a person with an orange jersey wearing a number 9. I was like, cool, do that. And it said, oop, actually, I can do that, but I can't show pain. I can't show a toe injury. I was like, come on, man. But it was like, okay, fine, here's what I can do. I can put a cast on the foot and holding crutches. I was like, fine, we'll do that. So it'll stop you a lot of times. Another example is, this was during a live demo, so it was a little embarrassing, I guess. I showed people, like, let's do prompting for images. I've done a class on how to prompt for the best images. And it was, show me, again, thinking of my avatar, it's a family with a growing toddlers that are busting at the seams and they need to move up, right? That is a real problem, and you're looking at the person with that real problem right now. They just keep getting bigger. And I said, let's do this. ChatGPT, give me a picture of a family in a house that's like pouring out, like they're just busting at the seams. I could see it in my mind, and I want you to do that for me. I'm not sure if it was because I used the word family or because I used, like, it showed discomfort, like they were busting out. It was supposed to be funny, like a Norman Rockwell painting. It just fell flat. It wouldn't do any of those things. So a lot of times ChatGPT, because they're gonna get sued over and over again, they're hyper careful. You can't do a lot of things with it. So just know that is a really good concern. I would say it's gonna stop you before you even get to what you think is allowed.
Okay, so this is a little far out there, but, I watch a lot of those movies, Eagle Eye and Alien Earth right now. Just so good, by the way. But, and now with all of your banks, when you call in, they're like, okay, let's record your voice. My voice is my password. So, I imagine AI is taking note of all of this and, can
Yeah. Yeah, so there's, first of all, yes, to what you just said, yes, that can absolutely happen. They are already putting things in place, like you can't use famous voices. So, Elon Musk, I think we mentioned him, he can't call you. Somebody can't use his voice. AI won't let that happen. So there are already a lot of safeguards in place. You can't duplicate celebrities or other people's voices. They won't let you do that. There's too many flags that it won't let you do that. But yeah, that has always been an issue. Our broker actually at our office, this was a couple years ago, before people were using it at a high level. His grandson called him and said, hey, he said like, hey, Papa, can you send me some money? I'm stuck. My parents can't pick me up. And they live in Arkansas. And my broker was like, you've never called me Papa before. And it was an imitation using his voice. This was before ChatGPT. So these are all things that have been around. But to kind of circle around this whole topic, they're putting a lot of things in place to make sure that you get stopped before you can get too far. Okay. Okay, so here are some of the things that people are using AI for. We kind of actually already talked on this. So recurring tasks, you can have ChatGPT give you reminders, and it's only an app notification. It's like, hey, you're supposed to do your 15 calls. Did you do that today? Yes or no? It could be an accountability tool. I'm actually working with ChatGPT to start going outside of ChatGPT, like send me a text message instead. There's ways you can do that, and I'm playing with that right now. Projects, we talked about that. I think agents should have projects already built out. So like this says short videos, it gives me ideas of short videos that I want to post. And every single one of these projects can be a property. Like 123 Banana Street, 347 Apple Lane, and these are the properties that you just have in a project. You put all the photos in there, the property description, so you don't have to go looking for it anymore. Consider it a folder on your desktop, same concept, okay? Let's see, property write-ups, just talked about that. Upload photos, I would encourage you to play with that concept. And here are just the ways that people are using ChatGPT right now. So marketing and client engagement, I think that one's kind of like a no-brainer. Like if you need help writing an email, a monthly newsletter, it'll do that for you. If you do a 36 touch, it can give you ideas of what those can be. Role play, we talked about that a little bit. Property and transaction support, this one's pretty cool. I actually went back and did this. I found an old inspection report from a transaction that closed like 6 years ago. And I said, hey, I want you to read this PDF. It's 40 pages. And I want you to read this PDF, and I want you to give me the 3 most concerning things with this property. Not only that, the zip code is 91775. I want you to find an average estimate cost in this area of what it would take to remedy those problems. I uploaded the PDF. Within a second, it said, Reddit, here are the 3 problems, average cost for each one, $4,000, $2,000, $1,000. And it gave me, and by the way, I was able to look back, I was like, that was pretty accurate, actually. Now, does this replace you? No, because you still need to look at that report. You need to go through, and now you know what to look for. You're like, it said something about a sewer. Let me go find that. Yep, there it is. Oh, says something about a roof. So again, do you do this yourself? Absolutely. Do you have to do it yourself? Absolutely not. Let's see, strategy, SWOT analysis, feedback loops, just bouncing ideas off of it. Operations efficiency. So 411 coaching, you can have it hold you accountable to certain metrics that you had already committed to. But I think a big one is that people are starting to get used to is the property inspection reports, even an appraisal. Say, hey, do you see any issues with this? What are you seeing here? What am I not seeing that you're seeing? All right, so just some compliance things. Follow TCPA, fair housing. Again, it's going to catch you. I couldn't even say family. It wouldn't even show me a family. So, fair housing, protect client confidentiality. If your clients are giving you bank statements, don't upload that into your chatbot, okay? Or even if you uploaded your own bank statements, I would just encourage you crop out the important information. I don't think it's a secret that you spent $7 at Starbucks, okay? So you can upload that part, and you can say things like, hey, here's my expense report, here's my bank statement with the information cropped off. What's my profit margin? What's my cost of sale? What are my monthly expenses? What should I cut out? What am I doing wrong here? Where's all my money? and it can do all those things for you. Okay. Let's see. To verify AI outputs. Just double check it. Double check, double check, double check. You never know how off something's going to be, and especially if it gives you a long a long output, you're going to run into an issue if you get in the habit of leaning on it too much and you don't check it. Something that AI does, and this is gonna scare you in the back here. It hallucinates. It will make up stuff. So if it doesn't have the answer to something, it will fill in a gap. And it will say, well, this property likely didn't sell because, and it'll just make up a reason. And you're like, that's not accurate at all. One time I had ChatGPT try to build an app for me. I was just playing with it, and it was like, okay, it's built, here's the file. Clicked on it, didn't work. It's like, oh, let me try this. ChatGPT said, well, let me try this workaround technique. Try this. Clicked on it, didn't work. It wasn't doing it. It said it was hallucinating. So what I've always done when I build the custom chatbots is I tell it, if you don't have the answer, do not guess, require the information before you move on. And it will say things like, if you did your goals and you said my goal is however much GCI, and it didn't know your average price point, it would guess. It'd be like, well, your average price point is $350,000, right? Add a 1 in front of that probably for this area. So you need to tell it like, hey, if you don't know my average price point, you need to ask me. Don't fill in a gap. Don't hallucinate on me, okay? Let's see. So the action plan, guys, let me see if there's another slide. Okay, so the action plan today, choose one AI bot. If there's one takeaway from this, I want you to pick one and start personalizing it. Start working with your chat GPT, and even if you think it knows you, I would encourage you to ask it the $1 million question.
I was going to ask you specifically, how do you personalize it? Is there, like, if you go to your ChatGPT, is there like this is me, or
yes.
that kind of thing?
So here, down here. Settings, personalization, there it is. Personalization. So you can give it witty, encouraging, right? And look how long my instructions are. So my instructions are pretty long. But yeah, that's how you would, what do you want to nickname you? Gabriel, right? Real estate manager, broker, business coach. So that's where you would personalize it. Yep.
So if I want to use rice, do I need to put rice in it?
So that's actually a great thing. So what you can do here, let's just say we wanted to create a project. Create the project. And then in here, I can add a file that is like a description of what rice is. So what I would do if I was doing this at just like breakneck speed, I'd Google or I'd ask ChatGPT, hey, give me the formula for rice for the best prompt. And it would say, here it is. I would copy that or make it into a PDF and upload it into here as a file. And then I would tell it, I want you to follow this format every single time I ask you a prompt. I want you to make sure I give this to you. You want to know something else that I've done? Who here has done a personality assessment? Raise your hand. Liars. There you go. More hands, more hands, more hands. Okay. DISC profile, Enneagram, KPA. We've all done those at some point. I would encourage you to do one, do a personality assessment, and upload it into ChatGPT.
How do you do that thing? What?
Yeah. So. DISC assessment. So these are all ways that you can take a DISC assessment test. But the beauty of a DISC assessment is it will tell you how you operate. And this is kind of like a boilerplate one. There's like Enneagram, there's higher level ones. But I would encourage you to do a DISC assessment. It's going to give you a report, and then upload that into ChatGPT and say, hey, I'm a high D. I'm a driver. I'm competitive. I'm a doer. I'm also an I. I'm very enthusiastic. Okay? Dare I say persuasive. I am not a C or an S. I am not very compliant. I'm not very cautious. I'm not very steady. That sounds terrible. But that's my DISC profile. I'm a high D, a somewhat high I, and not existent on the C and the S. A lot of people are the opposite of that. You're not going to see a lot of people that are a D and an S. Usually it's DI and SC. But this is something you would do. You would do a personality assessment, get your little report, and upload it into ChatGPT so that it's like, oh yeah, this person is a high D. They're going to want a quick answer right away, unless they say otherwise. Okay, so again, start uploading stuff into your ChatGPT so that it can know that about you. And the way you would do that is, so this is the new project, I would add a file. And I would add whatever PDF property personality assessment that I did. Okay? And then, by the way, if this was the project for, let's say this was like 123 Banana Street, and I want to come across as, who's that guy, Ryan Serhant? Like, he's like the celebrity real estate agent in restaurant. I'm going to copy all of his like bio and all of his posts and be like, hey, this guy's got like marketing down. I want you to upload all of his marketing pieces here, and anytime we put out marketing, I want it to sound like him. And that's what it'll do.